This episode is part of our Australian Established Brand series. Today's beer is VB, or Victoria Bitter. Hello from Beer Australia Reviews, and today we will be sampling, tasting and reviewing the big one. This is VB, this is Victoria Bitter. Now, if you are not from Australia, you might think that the biggest brand in Australia is something like Foster's. It just isn't. Inside Australia, the biggest brands, the one that you see absolutely everywhere, the one that's in every single pub, the one that is on the telly the most, the one that sponsors all of the sports, it's VB, Victoria Bitter. It's also, as you might imagine, it's one of the longest established brands across Australia. It comes from Melbourne, and it was established in 1854 by a guy from Scotland. His name was Thomas Aitken. He was a brewer and he started several small breweries. He went on to found what is the biggest brewing dynasty in Australia, Victoria Bitter brand. If you have a look at the website, it says the recipe for Victoria Bitter has changed very little since its creation. It's a full-strength, thirst-quenching beer for the harsh Australian climate. Surprisingly, for such a mainstream beer, it's quite strong, especially for one that's been established for so long. It's like 4.9%. When I've tasted this the odd times before, I think it's more of a lager than a bitter. I'm used to a real ale type of a bitter from the UK, and it's not the same sort of a beer. It's more of a lagery bitter. Also on the website it says it's made from Australian pale malts with the iconic Pride of Ringwood hops grown in Victoria and Tasmania. Anyways, let's get it open, let's see what it's like. It's got a twisty top. Oh, we've got some steam coming off it. Plenty of fizz, lots of bubbles. As with all of the mainstream Australian brands, when you pour that out, it looks absolutely fabulous. It's golden colour, it's not a pale lager colour, it's like more of an amber colour. It has lots of bubbles coming from the bottom. It's got a persistent but light foamy head. Let's give this one a try and see what it's like. So it says they've got fruity aromas on this one, but it says it's a light fruity aroma. They're not making claims that it's anything sort of tropical. They're not making any bold claims about the different types of fruits that you'd find in there, but let's give it a try. It smells like an ordinary lager. It doesn't smell anything special to me. It smells like 1,000 different mainstream lager brands that you've tried before. It's got nothing sort of characterful about the aromas on this one. There is a hint of fruit in there, no doubt about it. It's like a sweetish type of a fruit. It's an indeterminate fruit, but there is a fruit aroma in there. Well, the good thing about it is it doesn't have a strong hint of Melbourne water in there. Some brands, the only thing that you can taste is the Melbourne water and not the actual beer itself. On the initial taste, you get a hit of bitterness. This one has like a little bit of sweetness in there as well, and that's drying across the top of my mouth, but it's not lingering. It's not a lingering beer. A little bit of fruit. It is very refreshing. It doesn't taste like it's 4.9% beer. If you were to give me a taste of that one and say, what strength do you think it is? I'd say about 3.5. So it's lighter in style than some. Despite the fact this one's called a bitter, I wouldn't class this the same as like an English ale bitter, or especially like a real ale bitter. They have like a lot more hops in there for starters, and they have like a deeper malt flavour as well. So this one is just lighter. It's more like a lager. Now, I know it's not a lager as such, so they don't do the lagering process of storing the beer for an amount of time in cool temperatures, which is essentially what lagering means. To be honest, it's okay. If I was in a pub in Australia and this was available, and there was a choice of a few different brands, I would possibly have a go at this one. If there was any sort of a craft beer there, any sort of more upmarket beer, then I would be drinking them and not this. That's without doubt. But it's actually less bad than what you might think for such a ubiquitous, mass-market, mass-produced beer. Now, I am actually getting a taste and a hint of the malt in this one. Now, I don't know whether or not they use actual malted barley in this, or whether it's just a malt extract. I would expect the fact that it's a mass-produced, mass-market thing, it's probably some extracts in there. They might use hop pellets, I don't know. I doubt very much that they use actual whole hops, because that would make the thing more expensive, and it's just not that sort of a beer. It's not a beer that's been made up to a quality point, it's a beer that's made down to a price point, and they definitely will not be adding in full hops into this. Just the cost of them is prohibitive. So it's Victoria Bitter. It's very smooth. It's easy drinking. It is the sort of beer that you would drink if you were watching like some AFL Aussie Rules football. It's not the sort of thing that you'd have for a special occasion, because it just doesn't have that amount of flavour. Good points on this one. It does have a little bit of a maltiness. It has a little bit of a floral note, a little bit of a fruity note from the hops, and a little bit of an urban myth about VB is that you need to drink VB to become an Australian citizen, and you don't. They'll let you drink any one of the mainstream brands, trust me. So here we have Victoria Bitter, a little bit of floral notes on this one, a little bit of maltiness, no harsh hard water taste, which is good. A very light beer, it's a very refreshing beer, even though it's like 4.9%. It doesn't taste like a 4.9% beer, it tastes like a 3.4% beer, maybe. So Victoria Bitter, most popular beer, most well-known beer in Australia. There we have it. Thanks for watching.